In the sleepy little town of Puddlebrook, mornings were sacred. The sun rose over cobblestone streets. The smell of fresh pastries wafted through the air, and the townsfolk shuffled about with steaming cups of tea. But none of these charms compared to the town's true treasure, the blueberry pies of Mrs. Pumpernickel's bakery. Sweet, tangy, and topped with flaky golden crusts, these pies weren't just dessert. They were legend. And every year, during the annual pie festival, they took center stage. Everything was perfect, or at least it had been until the pies vanished into thin air. Enter Whiskers, Puddlebrook's most pampered citizen. Whiskers wasn't just any cat. He was sleek, orange-furred, and undeniably spoiled, with a personality as sharp as his claws. And while most cats were content chasing mice or staring out of windows, Whiskers harbored one very peculiar talent. He could talk. But this morning, as the town buzzed with panic, Whiskers found himself reluctantly waking from a particularly cozy nap. "Gone!" wailed the mayor, his skinny frame shaking in despair. "The pies are gone! Without them, the festival is ruined!" Mrs. Pumpernickel fluttered around the bakery, wringing her hands. "I don't understand. I locked up tight last night, but this morning there's nothing! Who would do such a thing?" she exclaimed. Whiskers stretched luxuriously on the counter, letting out a lazy yawn as the humans panicked. A trail of tiny crumbs leading out the bakery door had caught his eye, or rather, his nose. "Let me guess," Whiskers muttered, flicking his tail. "You all mean to spend the day running in circles looking clueless?" he added. The bakery went quiet. The mayor froze mid-pace and Mrs. Pumpernickel dropped her rolling pin. Whiskers sighed theatrically, raising his voice. Yes, I can talk. Get over it. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I believe someone needs to catch your thief," Whiskers declared. The humans stared, mouths agape, a mix of shock and confusion rippling through the room. But Whiskers wasn't one for dramatics. He leapt gracefully to the floor, tail high, and padded toward the trail of crumbs without another word. Out of the bakery and into the woods, Whiskers followed the crumb trail, ears swiveling with precision. It didn't take long before he stumbled upon the culprits. A gang of raccoons huddled together under a towering oak tree, their cheeks stuffed with suspiciously blue fruits. At the center of the group stood their leader, a portly raccoon aptly named Rascal. Well, if it isn't Mrs. Pumpernickel's lap cat," Rascal sneered, wiping his sticky paws on his fur. Whiskers surveyed the scene with unimpressed eyes, lazily sitting as though they were all part of his afternoon entertainment. He licked a paw, careful to scrape his claws before speaking. "Rascal, let's make this quick. I'm not here for idle chatter. You took the pies, so now you're going to give them back." Rascal's gang erupted in snickers, their laughter echoing through the trees. "And what exactly are you going to do about it?" Rascal asked, flashing his sharp teeth. Whiskers sighed deeply, the kind of sigh one gave when forced to explain something incredibly obvious to a simple-minded audience. He flicked his tail, a subtle gesture, but one that carried weight. The laughter ceased as the birds in the trees grew eerily silent. The wind stilled. The forest seemed to hold its breath. "Let me put this in terms you'll understand," Whiskers purred, his voice silky and slow. "I have friends, and my friends do not appreciate their morning routines interrupted by thieving furballs." As if summoned by the cat's words, the treetops rustled, and an army of owls, hawks, and crows descended in a coordinated flurry of wings. Silent, sharp-eyed, and intimidating, they settled into the trees above Rascal and his gang, their eyes glinting like polished glass. The raccoons froze, their confidence melting rapidly. Rascal gulped. All right, he stammered, waving his paws. "No need to get feathered reinforcements involved. We were just borrowing the pies." Whiskers allowed himself a small victorious smirk. "Borrowing, you say? Well, allow me to borrow them back." The raccoons scrambled into action, gathering the stolen pies, some half-eaten, and stacking them neatly. When they were done, Rascal shoved the pile toward Whiskers, his tail drooping in defeat. Whiskers turned, balancing all the pies effortlessly as he flicked his tail toward the birds. They dispersed with a deafening cacophony, scattering back into the treetops. The forest sprang back to life, and Whiskers padded away without so much as a thank you. Back in town, Whiskers arrived triumphantly, the pies still perched perfectly on his back. The mayor cried tears of joy, declaring him the hero of the hour. Mrs. Pumpernickel rewarded him with a lifetime supply of cream puffs and an extra cushion for his napping corner. That evening, as Puddlebrook celebrated the restored festival, Whiskers curled up on his favorite windowsill, the gentle hum of music drifting through the streets. Honestly, he murmured to himself, his golden eyes closing, if it weren't for me, this town would simply fall apart. And with that, he drifted off into the sweetest nap of his life.